let's start with our eyebrows. Hi, welcome to Delicate Dark Girl. Did I say that yet? So I know I haven't been gone for very long, but when you are doing something, missing, oh my god, it's dripping. Suddenly missing a week or two can feel like a long time. It feels like a long time, I think, because part of you feels like you're neglecting duties. And even though I've made no outright promise, me stating a schedule is kind of a promise. But as I had said in previous videos, there would be a week or two when I'm just not here. And I think I have the luxury to do that because this is not my main job. This is not a job at all, really. This is a passion project. And so I left to focus on my real job, which is writing. And I just had to finish a chapbook that I had started about a month ago. So I finished it up, and it was put out by my company on Noise Trade. I don't know if you've heard of them, but anyway. Paste Magazine. I usually go on Paste Magazine to like look up their movie recommendations. Like they always have these really long lists of movie, like different genres, like recommendations of like such and such must watch, blah blah blah. Such and such must watch anime, such must watch new series on Netflix. No, I don't watch series, but I do look at the list. I do watch a couple series, actually. Like, I just started a series on Hulu called Hellstrom, I think. And it's starting out very good. I'm concerned that the two main black characters are going to die before the series is over. Now, what I did like was that they had the dark-skinned woman. First of all, they're much older. And they had which is not unusual to be cast in like a white show. They usually cast older black people, you know, history. But besides that, she was darker, but they gave her a whole scene that was about just her and her friendship with the older man, they're both actually, I've seen them before in stuff, and the man though looked more familiar than the woman, and I looked him up and he was in a bunch of things. What was I about to say? Oh right, so they gave her a whole scene where she gets to literally talk about how vulnerable she's feeling. And to me that was really important because outside of our own black media, we don't get that kind of scene. And even within black media, a lot of colorism stereotypes affect how the darker skinned people get to be portrayed in the film. So it was just nice to see her talking about her vulnerability and having her friend actually tell her, I can be there for you. And she doesn't have to do this alone because she's just so strong. So that won me over, but I don't want that to be the beginning of the end for her. I don't want that to be the scene and then 2 episodes from now she dies. That's what I'm concerned is going to happen. But anyway, other than that, the premise of the series is it's alright. I like it. I would like to see where it's going. We got introduced to everything really fast, so that's what makes me curious as to where it's going. You know, there was no slow build up to get to the climax. I feel like we're at a climax already, so this must be something with multiple climaxes. Today's concept is a take on the makeup of the movies that I've been watching in the afternoon. They're pre-1970s movies. A lot of them are taking place in the 60s, and they're in the classic horror genre. I say classic horror because they're horror stories that are derivative of stories written and put in classic literature territory by general public academia. Now, one can always debate such titling, but so like Frankenstein and The Picture of Dorian Gray, those movies, they've been on TV. And Amity, it was Hill House, I believe, but I didn't know Hill House had gotten remade so many times. I think that's all we can do for our eyebrows today. They don't look so bad. Anyway, so I want to do that, like inspired by that, but I don't think I'm gonna actually do that. I think I'm gonna go more towards my new emoji. I'll show her to you. Why does my phone always come out so blue? Anyway, if you can see that, she's got some red blush, red lipstick, my piercings, and just some solid black eyebrows. I gave her my hair too. Anyway, so that's what we'll be doing today. Let's start by putting this base on our eye. And I'm using a couple new things, but not all kinds of new things. I wanted to do a video where I only talk about the products I'm using. I don't ramble like this. But I think we've made an established reputation here that my Get Ready With Me's are for rambling. I really like this color. This is rom&nd. It's either like dried wheat flour or dried buckwheat or something. I think it's dried buckwheat flour. I will put the correct thing in the description. Anyway, it's easier to call it M1. Oops, excuse me, it's M02. M1 was my other one, which is dry apple blossom. So I just put that brown on here as a base. I think I'm like collecting brown eyeshadow for real. I just love all the diversity that brown eyeshadow has. Like the actual diversities that shadows have in color tone and stuff. There's always one that's a little different from the last. A good calm nude for buffing all over the eye. I think it's a very good nude for every day. I've actually been using it every day. Just because it's so nice and casual. These are the other colors in there, but this is my favorite. And then this one's better than this one, but for the sake of these three colors, I did excuse, that color. Let's get back to the point. So we'll do our underline, our line first. Okay, so what we're gonna do is the thing that they always be doing. Today's makeup, I'm trying to make it like really, really just clean, except for my shiny eyebrows. I'm still looking for the best waterline, white waterline pencil, but Wet n Wild is the closest I've come to something being okay. Although I always feel like for the maximum clean look, I have to go over it again with a powder. Trying to get right to the inner corner. To create that border that they used to have. They be using black and stuff, but like I say, we're not gonna go that hard. Let's use the other Wet n Wild pencil. Simmer brown now. Okay? So we'll just put it here. I won't go all the way to the inner line. I kind of stay outside. Okay? So you can see that? You see that? It's a minor difference. Okay? And I just pulled it out here a little, like they did back then. Okay. So now, I'm not going to tight line, but I'm going to put something just at the edge. this is basically because I was thinking about that video I did on Thanksgiving where I botched the Little Kim eyeline from that picture, and I'm gonna try to recreate that eyeline the proper way. We'll see. Start by marking the area. Okay, it was something like that, except thicker. Seriously? Alright, I like that. Now let's see if we can do it over here. That's the mouth I'm making while I'm doing this. I don't know why. This side came out a little better, but it's okay. Fine. There. Eyes. Boop. So now we will put on mascara. Total Temptation for that big lash that they had all the time back then. I mean, I know they were falsies, but I gotta throw this away because there's nothing left. I'm scraping the barrel. Watching people put mascara on is like watching paint dry, isn't it? Okay, so eyes done. I'm very happy with how that came out. Let's back up. Oh my god, my house is falling down. Okay, moving on. Part of me wants to do no foundation, but I'll just do very light foundation. I'm gonna use McGrath. Oh, I didn't put on any primer. Remember this guy? I put it in my forehead. I don't think I'll put foundation there. There we go. So we just put on it like that. And we'll use the puff from this. I actually filled this with Estee Lauder Double Wear. It's hard to not do the forehead when you do the nose, but we're going for it. Another thing is that when I'm going to work and I decide to wear makeup on those days, I think my foundations aren't smudging that much onto my mask, but I think also it's the kind of masks I'm wearing. They're cloth, but on the more surgical looking masks, they'd smudge just a bit. But also, I have to keep in mind that I don't have like the longest work days in the world. I think now, because of how everything is, my work days will be max 4 or 5 hours. You know? But anyway, so here's the McGrath. Looking fucking amazing. Oops, excuse me. Excuse my language. And again, I'll put nothing on my forehead, so I don't know why, but I don't know why. Like these days, I've just not been putting. It's not like my makeup is. I mean, my forehead is spotless. I just haven't been pulled to put stuff up there. Like I haven't been wanting to bother putting makeup up there. And then we're actually gonna put the blush on so I can figure out what color lip to do. So this is Nicka K's Red Glam. I bought this summer and I have yet to use it, and I thought today would be a good day. I'm gonna use this tiny little sponge and we'll just use that to stipple under the eye. Now this part is obviously not from those movies. This is how we're going into my Bitmoji territory. And I wanted it straight down like when I did Sailor Mars many years ago. Okay. That primer and that McGrath, I think they work the best together. Y'all need to see this. Look at me. Look at my pores. They're gone. It really complements the texture of my face even when I put on this blush. Hey, sideburns. First of all, that's why I like the skin fetish anyway. But I haven't tried it with a bunch of random, I usually try it with the same, you know, Smashbox primer. I never tried it with that F.A.B primer before, but the F.A.B primer works really well with my black opal stick, so I shouldn't be so surprised. This one's a little too, we went a little too wide. I want it to be like this one. So that's cute. It doesn't have names for the individual ones, but I use this one up here in the top right hand corner if you're looking straight at it. And then, so now we will move on to the, I guess you could call it the pierre de resistance. What is it? What is the phrase? Pièce de résistance. Pièce de résistance. Pièce de résistance. Pierre de résistance. Girl, I don't know. I just keep using that phrase. Alright. Okay. So, ooh, love it. So, I have 6 choices here. These 3 are Stila that I told you guys about in the last video I posted. And then these were on my personal channel when I did an unboxing. They are from Black Rouge, another Korean company. And I found out about them because I was looking at swatch videos because I was seeing my own and I felt they were a bit lacking for what I had imagined, but I didn't know how to execute them, so I decided to watch some other people doing their swatches, and I came across this one beauty YouTuber, and her name is Minsko, because she has a whole string, like she had a whole playlist of lip swatch videos, so it showed up, I guess because she has a pretty high number. I think she's like in the 300,000s, so she showed up, and her string of lip videos called Lipsco showed up, and I like fell into the biggest black hole watching her Lipsco videos. Not only are they informative if I were to ever purchase any of those lipsticks, but I really like the way she shows the lip and how she goes. She does a lot of variation when she's doing the lip swatches, and as, thank you. My phone makes all kinds of noise in the morning, like for real. She always talks about texture, which I was really into last year, and it didn't go away, so I could say I'm into it this year too. So I was glad she talked about the texture of the lipstick, and so the more velvety ones were the ones I was interested in. It reminds me of a liquid version of the MAC Powder Kiss, and maybe the Powder Kiss was influenced by that, because some of the brands seem to have been doing that for a longer time than when the MAC Powder Kiss came out. So I was looking into some of those, and I found Black Rouge, and the colors there stood out to me. So I bought these 3 to start. I got them off of G Market. They have an English version where you can get these, and it's the system of it, because you buy from different sellers. The styling, it's the most similar thing I could think of on this side is Amazon. So if I understand correctly, G Market is a third-party seller site based in Korea, so, or South Korea. So that's where I got these. I got A22, A20, and A19. I started wearing those. I layered them kind of how she would layer her lip in Lipsco, how she would layer her velvet tints. Put the lighter one on the outside and then a darker color on the inside to give more oomph. It's like a reverse gradient from what I think a lot of people in the States do, where we do the lighter color on the inside and then the darker color is usually the base or on the outside. So I started mixing this and this, and they work perfectly together for me. Okay, so we're gonna go for my lip in the emoji, right? Then we have to go with Beso, and then I think what would look pretty with Beso is A19. There's also A20, but then the much deeper one, which is Vampire. This one was a favorite of mine, like this one and A20. So A22 and A20 I really, really like, but I think I'm going to do A19 and Beso. And see, that combination I haven't done yet, actually. So we'll put down, the Stila works as a great base. I do have Carmex on my lips. I think I'm gonna ignore my Cupid's bow today. Right, so that's Beso. Already look. But we're gonna add a little more oomph with the A19. And they smell like green apple, which was shocking. I think they're too similar. They're different, completely different in texture, but too similar in color to notice the difference. Ooh. Well, anyway, let's put on A20. So it's just a little concentrated color in the middle. Not that much of a shade difference for this one, for this combination. Still cute together. You can kind of see it though, just because I spread it out around the edge. I like it. So, the end. I don't know how long this is gonna be, but yeah, thanks for waiting. Bye.